of It's Just Me, hosted by Brent Foxx. I just wanted to do a quick live here, and I think I am actually just going to probably be talking boxing for the majority of the show. Of course, I got to throw my Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles in this weekend, but I think for the most part on this one, I'm gonna probably talk boxing. First off, I'd like to start off by saying that I was pleasantly surprised that uh Purat Pulev had actually been involved in a fight, and he won like the WBA regular heavyweight title. Um Surprisingly enough. He actually fought Muhammad Diamond Boy Char. Wait a minute. No, no, no. This is a different Char. I was thinking about somebody else. I think it might have been a Manuel Char or somebody like that. That used to be a heavyweight fighter as well, or it could be the same guy. I think Tyson Fury fought him or something, or possibly David Hay back in the day. I'm not sure, but yeah, he actually had a 12 round unanimous decision last weekend, and he was in wow Bulgaria, I believe. So he actually looks like from this outworked Char and got pretty wide scores: 117 to 111, 117 to 111, and then 116 to 112. That just basically means that he won almost all the rounds in the fight. Which shout out to Kubrat Pulev. Didn't realize that he was still active and that he was still fighting. Pulev, I'm sorry, Pulev is basically best known for hey, what's up, Jared? Pulev is basically better known for kissing a reporter on camera, and she, of course, filed SA charges against him um, because of the incident, and then for whatever reason, those charges just kind of, well, those accusations, excuse me, it weren't official charges. Those accusations somehow just quieted down probably 2 to 3 weeks after the incident actually happened. But shout out to Pulev for actually rebounding on this one and getting a championship fight. Hey, oh okay. So you from Nepal, okay? Um, and shout outs to you, Rolando. Um, and let's see here. There was another fight that I was actually looking at that oh yeah, of course the but I think I spoke on the Navarrete the Navarrete fight. Um yeah, I think I spoke on that one last week. So no news to report there. I think after a loss like that, um my guy Oscar Valdez may need to kind of take a step back, maybe as far as an opponent goes. I would still like for him to actually fight. I just think that with a loss like that, he may need to just kind of take one of what you would call like a recovery fight or feel good fight, just to kind of bounce back, help his timing, and more importantly, try to get his confidence back up. I think that's real important. Uh, I don't know who you are, Shirk, but this is not that type of show, brother. If you here for all of that, you might want to go ahead and politely exit. Um, you don't. Oh, well, I speak American English, sir. So, oh, okay. Um, I'm actually from Dallas, Texas, in the USA. Oh, okay. All right. Don't even worry about it. Yep. We'll get you out of here. All right. So yeah. So yeah, anybody here looking to, just try to cause trouble or anything like that, or uh just have nothing better to do with yourself than to just try to say some off the wall type stuff. I don't really have a high tolerance for stuff like that. So if you're doing something like that, you'll quickly be removed. I'm not really gonna address you. In most cases, I'll just remove you and that's it. You're not that important. All right, so um, since we're talking boxing, let's see here. There was, I think, a fight in the works with Jack Catterall, but I was trying to see who the potential opponent was going to wind up being. Um, so I kind of look forward to seeing Jack Catterall get back in the ring and fight. Let's see here. Now, okay, this is one that I wanted to go over. Jaime Munguia is actually fighting a gentleman by the name of Bruno Suarce or Suarce. It's at super middleweight, which of course is 168 pounds. Hello, Space Hazes. And I appreciate you, Jared. Yeah, anything that any of these folks that just come in here like that, I don't tolerate that too much. So okay. Yeah, there we go. That way we ain't gotta deal with that no more. Okay. Um yeah, where was I? Oh, okay. Jaime Munguia was fighting this guy named Bruno Soarce. Jaime Munguia, according to this press conference clipping, says that he's actually looking for a knockout on this one. Now, I don't know whether or not um, that's just being very confident in your training and feeling really good, or somehow being overconfident. Now, yes, um, I'm sure that the promotional team for Jaime Munguia has classified this as some sort of showcase fight, especially after him fighting Canelo and all of that. I think that this would probably be a good fight for him to kind of get out in the forefront. And it looks like he's actually fighting on ESPN on Saturday, which of course is the 14th. So that, his return should be interesting. For those that don't really know Jaime Munguia, he's pretty much like an action fighter. Throws a lot of punches. Not a lot of head movement. But he does have a very good he does have a very good chin for the most part. And he's a very good body puncher. Um, and of course his stamina is pretty good too. He does check all the boxes as far as the Mexican machismo fighter who goes in there with just going to work with their fists and taking it as well as they can dish it out as and trying to and trying to get their hand raised for the victory. Um, so yeah, I do kind of look forward to seeing if there's any improvement boxing wise as far as Jaime Munguia because he's going to need that um, as he goes up in competition, especially at 168. I do not think that he would be able to get in slugfests or try to get in a slugfest with somebody like Caleb Plant, who could probably easily outpoint him if he's trying to come in with that barrage type style. Another person that, of course, obviously I would worry about would be David Benavidez. If he tries to slug it out with David Benavidez, I do not think that he'll make it. I Yeah, I would see things probably at this point ending very badly for Jaime Munguia. Um, there's a gentleman that's from Canada though. I think it's Mumbai or something like that. Who and Billy. Now that would actually be a good fight. Him and Billy, because they have an all-out action style, and they can, they could pretty much brawl um, all night long, and you don't know who's actually gonna win that type of slugfest. So him and Billy would be a good fight. And if he's fighting on ESPN, they would probably be fighting for the same TV distributor at least. I'm sure it's not the same promotional company, but at least the same TV distributor as far as the fight. So that fight could probably get made if Jaime Munguia wins against Suarce. Um, but yeah, I kind of look forward to seeing, uh, the supposedly new and improved Jaime Munguia. All right. So also, um, it looks as though Alexis Rocha is actually going to be back in action as well. For those that do not know who Alexis Rocha was, Alexis Rocha was a guy that was up and coming in the welterweight division, where Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford used to be. He's actually going to be in action um, Saturday as well, from what it actually looks like. I think Rocha was best known for beating Blair Cobb. I'm sorry. He was best known for beating Blair Cobb. Um, but I think he wound up actually suffering a loss to someone. And then what is the guy's name? Brian Norman Jr. actually wound up defeating the guy that defeated Alexis Rocha, just to sum it up. Um, so it'll be good to see Rocha back in action. And I'm kind of curious to see how well he actually does against this opponent. I think it's Raul Curel. So yeah, I'd probably be looking forward to seeing that. Something that I may or may not be looking forward to is Dillian White is back in action, and it looks like he'll be fighting on Sunday, the 15th. I think that he's fighting. It looks to be like a hand-picked opponent. His name is Ebenezer Tate. Um, so yeah, I think that he'll probably wind up getting his hand raised in that one. There is another pay-per-view fight that'll be happening December the 21st. Of course, that's a highly anticipated matchup, or rematch rather. I'm sorry, with Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. Now they're saying it's for the undisputed heavyweight title, but unfortunately, those belts just pretty much broke apart, and now I think it's probably for a unification, because I think Dubois has the IBF now. Pulev has obviously the WBA belt. So they may be fighting for Tyson Fury's WBC and possibly the WBO belt, I think. So they'll be fighting for two belts um, instead of all four, from what I understand at this point. Nonetheless, it should be a very good fight still. Um, I do not know if Alexander Usyk is going to win as convincingly. Tyson Fury, to his credit, and as much as I do not like to admit it, and family, my LDBC family, I when I do these boxing reports, I have to be objective. Okay, I love Deontay Wilder just as much as anyone else. All right, and I will never, ever, ever say anything intentionally negative or harmful to Mr. Wilder, because um, when I met him in person, my energy was, I was appreciative of what he actually did. The way that this man was a champion for our culture and our people, And I'm making no mystery about it. I'm talking about Black American people. The way that he actually displays himself and fights for us, I definitely appreciate that from him. But speaking objectively, unfortunately, Tyson Fury found a way, and even though we have our suspicion about what happened, he found a way to actually win and win convincingly the second one. Now the third one was a great fight. That is a historic fight, and unfortunately, our guy didn't get the victory on that one, and lost lost in valiant fashion is what I'd say. He went out there and he fought and he died, and he pretty much went out a hero. I'll say that he went out a hero. But with these rematches, I think that Fury, as divisive as he may be to some, he is actually able to kind of come back and recuperate and then find a way to win. Hang on just a second. Yeah, he sure is that dude, brother. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, he sure is that dude, brother. And man, I hate that we didn't have a chance to meet him in person, Jared. Man, he has such great energy. Like in person, he has such great energy, man. Um, you just you just felt it when you was around him, man. He's a real human being. You would love being around him, Jared. You really would. Um, so there's that. But just kind of looking at some of these upcoming matchups and the matchups that yeah, and I'm sorry about that, bro. I don't mean to like sound like I'm rubbing it in or nothing like that. I just was re-emphasizing you know how good his energy actually was, like when you encountered him as a human being. That's all. But on to onto these particular fights. Um, I'll probably have a breakdown of this rematch maybe next week. I do not, I may do a 20 by 20 on this one. Because it's a relatively important fight, especially for a heavyweight unification. It's a big rematch. So yeah, I'll probably do a 20 by 20 on this one. I can look at a few pieces of film. Um, Especially like from the last fight since they fought already, and I can probably do a pretty good assessment of what adjustments need to be made on both ends and how each one of them can actually defeat the other. So probably be on the lookout for that maybe sometime next Thursday. Excuse me. And if not, probably by that particular weekend. I know before the fight. Um, and thank you, Jared. I appreciate you, bro. Um, But yeah, I just kind of look forward to more or less like the fights that are actually scheduled, and then the fights that are probably with folks that the mainstream people wouldn't know, but are exciting matchups nonetheless. Like to be honest with you, I would think that if and I'm saying if once they do a press conference, I think Shakur Stevenson and Kid Austin can if they actually do an official press conference and get the fight promotion officially rolling. I'd love to speak on that. But until something like that officially happens, I'm not gonna get my hopes up. I know that they're saying that it's official, but once there's maybe a press release or press conference or something of that nature, where both men are addressing it and being like, yeah, hey, this is a real thing. Buy your tickets to this particular venue on this particular day. I'm not gonna hold my breath on him, but it is kind of exciting to hear that Shakur is actually going to fight someone like that. And Kid Austin is no slouch. I mean, Yeah, folks make jokes about his dad and all of that, but Kid Austin is a good fighter. I actually did an article on him for the Punch Junkie maybe a year, yeah, maybe a year and some change ago. And I enjoy watching him fight. Now, I would like for him to tune some things up defensively. Uh, but I mean, other than that, I think Floyd Schofield, aka Kid Austin, is a really good fighter. I would love to see him test his mettle against someone like Shakur Stevenson. And styles do make fights. Kid Austin has an aggressive style. Hang on just a second. Um, you know what, Jared? I'm gonna get to that in just a second. But yeah, styles make fights with the Shakur Stevenson and Kid Austin fight. I think because Kid Austin is an aggressive fighter, um, it may at some point, if he does this correctly, force Shakur Stevenson to actually return fire and just kind of stay in there and stay engaged. Um, Now, on the other hand, Shakur Stevenson is a defensive technician, and if Kid Austin makes the wrong move, and like I said before, he's not exactly 100% buttoned up on defense, so there's a chance that you can actually return fire on him and land some pretty good shots. So, that aspect of it has to be talked about. And then, of course, someone actually making Shakur fight or feel uncomfortable from a defensive standpoint to where he has to return fire. I think there's a significant challenge in that, and I think Shakur for the most part could be up for the challenge because of because of the Olympic pedigree and things of that nature. Um, but I would still nonetheless love to see that particular fight. Um, I don't I don't think that I don't think that Tank is going to wind up fighting anyone that we ask him to anytime soon because he feels like he has a winning formula. Now, and I can't believe that I'm having to just publicly address this. As much as I respect Tank Davis, the fighter, GTD Promotions, um, you guys, I'm gonna treat you the same way I treat Canelo Alvarez Promotions. You guys, and you guys are bullshit artists, okay? GTD Promotions is bullshit artists, all right? You depriving the people of the fights that they actually want to see. I'm treating you the same way that I'm treating Canelo Alvarez's promotion company because you're modeling right after what he's doing. So if Canelo them got to catch it, my brother, you got to catch it too. Now I ain't gonna go as hard on you as I would Canelo Alvarez because he's been in the game longer and he should know better. But B, and most importantly, I'm not going to try to get on here and publicly bash another black man and then, feel like when I see that black man in person that, I don't really have to answer for it or always just the internet and nothing like that. This is a real me. I'm not some cartoon character on the internet that when I turn the camera off, I'm a completely different person. When I say it's just me, that's what I mean. It's just me. I'm Brent Fox. That is who I am. Regardless of whether or not this camera is on. All right. Um, and me being a boxing enthusiast or a boxing supporter, it's very disappointing to know that, you know, its top participants with an S are not interested in their legacy. They're only interested in their next paycheck, which is extremely disappointing. You're doing boxing a disservice taking that type of attitude. Yes, you have more money than me, and ha ha ha. people are gonna pay to see me anyway, and I do whatever the blank I want, and what you gonna do about it and all of that. What I can do about it is I can give you the same treatment that I give Canelo Alvarez promotions and not support your ass. That's what I can do. So, I can take my little bitty money or whatever the fuck you want to call it, and just use it elsewhere to watch fights that I actually support, like the Kid Austin Shakur Stevenson fight. Um, like a fight, possibly, and I hope they revisit this, with Brian Norman Jr. and Jerron Boots Ennis. I know that that's not a likely fight, or that's not likely to happen at this particular point because the negotiations fell through and all that stuff. But I would still love to see the fight. Um, I think that Boots should actually unify at 147. Um, I know this is a very small channel, but if anyone that has any type of boxing influence is actually listening, Jerron Boots Ennis, Eddie Hearn works for you, not the other way around. Yes, Eddie Hearn is actually a very successful person to a certain extent, but it's your career. This is your legacy. And I know that you want to fight for legacy, um, because you have a family full of fighters. And you've also mentioned that you wanted to leave a particular legacy in your earlier interviews. So I know you unifying or being undisputed at 147 actually means something to you. Um, of course, I'm just a normal guy in front of a camera or whatever, just spewing his thoughts and emotions or whatever the case may be. But what I do want to mention is, as passionate as you are, in your day-to-day craft as far as boxing and being the best out there, me as a supporter of boxing would love to see someone like you become the very best. Okay? I would pay to see that. I would honestly pay to see that. Um, but just kind of moving on, and I know I'm just kind of hopping around, but when the top participants in boxing aren't doing what they're supposed to do, you get people like Jake Paul that has sold out Texas, the new Texas stadium, which is the AT&T Stadium, fighting fighting a 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Like, that should never happen, if boxing does what it's supposed to do. And I know that I'm going on a rant and I'm getting way off subject. Um, but yeah, I just believe that if boxing is doing what it's supposed to do and the top guys are fighting the top guys at a consistent rate, then we don't pay for sideshow circuses like Jake Paul fighting Mike Tyson and wondering who Jake Paul gonna fight next, and seeing if Andre Ward is gonna come out of retirement to fight somebody and all of that. Won't There wouldn't be a need for that if these men did what they're supposed to do. I have a great reverence and a great respect, excuse me, for both Canelo Alvarez, the fighter, and also Gervonta Tank Davis, the fighter. They promotional groups ain't shit. They not. They not shit. Um, CA promotions, they know what the fuck they can do. GTD promotions, y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself, man. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. Um, it's disgraceful the way that y'all are doing business, okay? and it's actually very comical, at this particular point. Now, I appreciate y'all giving Lamont Roach a chance. He's a dude, he's a dude from the same area, the DMV. Why wouldn't y'all have that in the DMV area? Like, that would be a huge deal for your people back home. And I get that, y'all brought it closer to home, fighting in Brooklyn and all of that. But help your own economy, man. This is what I'm talking about. You guys have control. GTD Promotions, if y'all are boss like y'all say y'all are, then y'all should be able to have the fight in the DMV to where people can actually get behind that and support. I know your ticket sales will go through the roof if y'all fight locally, man, because y'all are local. Like, don't that make sense? That makes even good common business sense. I'm not sure I understand what what y'all are doing over there, but I guess it is what it is. You just gonna I guess you just gonna let old Tom Brown lube up and stroke you from behind. I don't, that ain't none of my business. But I just see if you supposed to be the calling the shots and all that shit, you would have the fight locally, and you would bring money into your own community in the DMV. I'm sure that the DMV would be proud of you and they would get behind something like that. But there's always the Russells. You can get Gary Russell Jr. You could probably get what's the other one? You get Gary Antoine. I'm sure that he could probably come down to 135. Um, and then there's another one that you can pick on too. Like you can fight any one of those three, to be quite honest. But your promotional company is not gonna let you apply yourself and challenge yourself to fight somebody great. So I guess, as long as people are paying to see you fight mediocre competition, I guess that's okay with you. But when it's all said and done and, boxing is over with, is your legacy, and I'm asking Tank the fighter. I'm not asking GTT Promotions because they ain't shit. I'm asking Tank Davis the fighter. When this is all over with, are you gonna look back and say, well, hey, you know what, man? I made a lot of money and I'm happy about that. Or are you gonna say, damn, I could have whooped so and so's ass, or so and so could have probably gave me a run for my money, but I would have still won. You don't want to be living with what ifs. I'm living with what ifs, to be honest with you, and I'm not gonna bare my soul on the internet, but there's a lot of what ifs with me, and I know for a fact that if it eats me alive, it'll daggum near kill you because you have the drive to be the best. And I'm still talking to Javante Tank Davis, the fighter. I ain't talking to the promotional group. I'm talking to the fighter. If you if you have any pride in yourself as a fighter at all, you would want to leave a legacy. You would want to say, I fought and beat the best. Not, oh, I made so much money, because that money is probably gonna come and go, to be honest with you. Excuse me. And then what you gonna have left? Oh, well, I sold this stadium out, or I did this monetarily. Well, okay, where the money at? Well, time went on, and I don't got it like that no more. And then you're gonna wind up being one of these dudes that fight past his prime, and you were so worried about your O in the prime of your career that your O is probably finna go because you stayed too damn long trying to make up money that you done already spent, and feel like you got to get back again. Like you probably wind up like one of these NFL players trying to play for the next contract, and then all of a sudden you out the league. I mean, that happens, unfortunately. But Tank Davis, the fighter, I'm almost begging you, please challenge yourself and fight the best in your era. Okay? Fight the best in your era. Even your boy Floyd Money Mayweather wound up eventually fighting the best guys in his era. Was it maybe a little past due? Sure. Okay, you could argue that. But at the same time, he still fought him. Canelo, he'll fight someone if he finds them vulnerable, which is pretty cowardly. But I'm speaking to Canelo Alvarez Promotions, right? Canelo the fighter would never allow himself to have a past prime opponent that he could just beat up on pretty easily and not be able to challenge himself. That's not the Canelo that I saw come up and work his way to being an undisputed champion at 168 pounds. That's not the Canelo that had won a championship at 175 and dared to be great again, trying to fight Dimitri Bivol at that particular weight. Um, so I'm only speaking to the promotional entities that do the matchmaking for these fighters and refuse to challenge these great fighters to push themselves. And until you all do boxing a service and allow your fighters to fight the very best, you're always going to be second place to somebody like Jake Paul. Just some food for thought. You're always going to be second place to Jake Paul if you don't challenge yourself. It is what it is. That's what opened the door for him in the first place. I know y'all know that. I know y'all know that. I know y'all know that. Is it more marketable to have your fighter fight the very best people, or is it more marketable to try to sell people a fantasy of who these fighters may be, and people not really know if these fighters challenge themselves, how far or how great they could actually be? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. And again, until you find that out, you're always going to be behind the eight ball, just looking at the back of just looking at the back of Jake Paul's robe as he comes out and makes more money than you. All right. Well, that's enough of me ranting, okay? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just go ahead and wrap up with this. Concerning my Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Philadelphia Eagles, on Sunday, we do not have a great history with the Philadelphia Eagles. I know that Russ is 5-0 against the Eagles at Philadelphia, but the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. We have not won since the 60s in that particular venue. Um, so I don't think that that's actually going to change this year. The reason I'm saying that is because for the same reason that I did not think that we were going to have great success against the Browns on a Thursday night in Cleveland. I just think that unfortunately, um, the Eagles probably are going to have our number in Philadelphia. Hopefully, it doesn't wind up being the disaster it was 2 years ago when we got blown out over there. Um, I'm thinking that we'll probably be competitive, but I think that we'll probably lose by by maybe a touchdown or possibly 10 points. So I look for something maybe like 35-24, uh, maybe maybe 31-21, something like that. Um, but yeah, I do not see us actually coming out successfully with that one. And I think we may actually do a decent job of trying to slow down Saquon Barkley. I think that their passing game is probably what's going to wind up doing us in, or the running of Jalen Hurts may actually wind up hurting us. I do not think that we'll get a whole bunch of turnovers. And I think that because we're successful. Hey, Tay Tay. Um, I think that we probably won't be able to get the turnovers from them that we usually get from most teams, and I think because of that, they'll have a pretty good success scoring because they can actually hold on to the ball. And yeah, and again, that history that we actually have in Philadelphia is not so great, like at all. So yeah, I got us losing this one. But on a happier note, I think that it's probably going to be a great month as far as sports go. Things are heating up in the National Football League. NBA basketball is here. I'm going to try to keep up with my Dallas Mavericks. Not doing a great job so far, but hopefully I'll be able to catch up with them because people have stopped talking about the Cowboys down here, ironically, or stopped talking about them as much because they're losing, which is great for business because I'm a Steelers fan anyway. But okay, but that's besides the point. What I'm trying to get at is, you know, things are heating up sports wise, and that's always something to smile about. Thank you all so much for tuning in to another show. It's just me, hosted by Brent Fox, and I will try to catch y'all next week. All right.